Up until this point, we've been using the trim tool and the clip tool, so I can just trim and it's going to remove the portion of line in between two intersecting objects. That's the trip tool, or the clip tool if I have objects selected. I can use my clip tool and draw a marquee and delete those sections of lines. Now, there's also what's called a connect combine tool. So it's this little right angle with two grayed tail ends extended. So I can see that it's, if I hover over the tool, it's an option L to select. And in selecting it, there's multiple menus. So I can do a single object connect mode. So that's the default. And if I hover over an object, I can see that it's highlighted red. And then I can select the second object, which also highlights red, and it extends that line to meet that, my second line. Now there's also a dual object connect mode. So in this case, instead of making a T join, it's going to make an L join. So I have to be conscious of what side I select my line to go to. So if I go to the down, it's going to trim off that upper segment. If I go up, it's going to trim off the lower segment. And if I go start with the other vertical line first, it's going to trim that off and extend the horizontal one. I can also, that's connecting them. I can also combine, a dual object combine mode. So same method, but it gives me a different outcome. It actually, I create a shape. So those two lines I combine together, and by combining them, I created a polygon. So in theory, I could also do that with lines and a rectangle. So if I've drawn reference lines and made a shape, I could fill it with a rectangle, but that's going to leave the lines still there. If I use the connect combine and I use the combine mode, then I can go around and make those objects into a shape. So previously there was 4 lines, and now I have 1 polygon. So there is also, so in this case, if I wanted to, I could use my connect combine tool to extend. Oh, I want to use my single object to extend lines. I can also use it to trim lines. So in this case, I want this line to only go to this portion, and it trims those lines. Now, here I have multiple lines that I want to trim or extend. So there's 2 ways of doing it. I can either select the objects first, and those lines are selected. I can go into my connect combine tool. I can choose the single object connect mode, but I have multiple objects selected. So I can see as I hover over these orange highlighted objects, it highlights in red as I'm in the connect combine tool. So I can specify that I want this line. Oh, now if I hit option while I'm doing this, I can see that all the orange lines that I have highlighted then go into a red highlight. So I can go press option and I connect combine this line to this line, and it trims off all of those tails. I could also do a multiple line extend. So here again, I press the, with multiple lines previously selected in the Connect Combine tool, I can press Option and extend those lines. Now that is with the lines previously selected. I can also use the multiple object connect mode. And in this case, we're choosing the boundary object. So I want all my lines to extend to this line, so I select it first. And then I just go and I click on the highlighted lines and it extends those to that boundary line. Oh, that's pop-up messed up mine. So I have to go back into and select my boundary mode. Oh, I have to get out of it because it doesn't like me right now. So again, that first click is going to be that boundary line, and then the second clicks or multiple clicks after are going to extend or trim that line. So in this case, if I wanted to do trim multiple lines, I can make this the boundary line and click on these individual lines and it will trim them to that boundary line. Or I can multiple select them with my selection tool. Oh, whoops. And then use the Connect Combine tool, the single object with the Option key. So I can then go Option, I can see that all are highlighted and I want to trim them to that line. Does that make sense to everybody? Give it a try. Give all methods a try. So you want to make sure you can do the single object connect, the dual object connect, and trim the lines that you want, and you get the result that you want. The dual object connect mode, the multiple object connect mode. So remember, there's two ways to connect or trim or extend multiple objects. You're going to either have them all selected first and hit Option while using the single connect, or you can select the multiple object connect mode, specify your boundary, and then click all the lines that you either want to trim or extend. Any questions?